Then her fingers hit something soft. Her breath caught. She dug faster. The mud loosened. And then she lifted a small cloth bundle from the earth. Her heart pounded against her chest as she unwrapped it. Inside were folded, clean, crisp 5,000 naira notes. The exact amount the old woman claimed was stolen. She stood there, letting the rain wash the mud from her hands, staring at the evidence. Her suspicion was right. Madame Ogoli buried the money. She set up the entire scene. She framed little Lota intentionally. But why? Why destroy a child's innocence? Why scatter a peaceful home? The answer hit her suddenly and violently. Because she wanted control. Because she wanted to break her. Because she wanted her son back under her influence. Because she wanted to take over. Isioma held the muddy cloth close, breathing hard. The wind whipped around her, but she didn't feel it. She only felt betrayal. Deep, sharp, crushing. When she entered the room, dripping wet, holding the cloth, she found her husband awake. "Where are you coming from?" he asked. She opened the cloth slowly and dropped it on the bed. "This is the money your mother claimed Lota stole," she said quietly. He stared at it. He blinked, and then he looked away. "Isioma, please don't start this again." "What?" she whispered. "You still think I'm lying?" "I didn't say that. You're thinking it." Silence. It confirmed everything. Isioma stepped back, tears streaming freely. "You no longer trust me," she said. "Your mother planted this money. I saw her last week burying something. I didn't know what it was then. Now I do." Still, he said nothing. Silence once again stood between them. A thick wall, a painful reminder that love alone could not fix this. Isioma walked to her daughter's sleeping mat, knelt down and kissed her forehead. "Mummy is here," she whispered. "I will protect you." But inside she felt powerless. How do you protect your child from someone who lives under the same roof? Someone who holds the authority of an elder? Someone your own husband refuses to stand up against. As she held her daughter close, she realized one thing with aching clarity. Her home was no longer safe. The next morning, before the rooster crowed, she made a decision. She wrapped a shawl around herself and walked quietly through the village streets. Her feet knew where she was going before her mind agreed with it. To the one woman in Umuoke who saw beyond the surface. To the one woman the villagers feared and respected. To the one woman who could understand the darkness she felt, Mama Ifeoma. The old woman sat outside her hut, grinding pepper with slow, steady strokes, as if expecting her. "Sit down, Isioma," Mama Ifeoma said without looking up. "Your heart is heavy." Tears fell instantly. "Mama, my home, my husband, everything is falling apart. Because the serpent that entered your house did not come to visit," the old woman said calmly. "She came to eat, and she will not leave until she finishes the meal." Isioma shivered. "What do I do?" Mama Ifeoma lifted her eyes slowly, eyes that carried the weight of many generations. "You must be patient," she said. "The same mouth that spoke lies will expose itself. When wickedness grows too boldly, it forgets to hide." "But Mama, be still," the old woman cut in. "Your time to act will come. For now, watch." Those words settled over her like the first drop of rain before a storm. Something was coming. Something bigger. Something louder. Something that would reveal the truth. And when it came, nothing in Umuoke village would remain the same. Rain did not fall on the morning everything changed, but the sky looked as though it was holding its breath. The clouds hovered low, thick and heavy, casting the village in a strange gray light. Even the birds sang less. Even the wind held back. It was as if the day itself knew something was about to break. Inside the house, Isioma moved quietly from room to room, packing clothes, sweeping floors, cooking breakfast, but not with the same heart she once had. Her movements were slow, cautious and numb. Every corner reminded her of a wound she was trying to heal. Her daughter Lota clung to her wrapper. "Mummy, is Grandma still angry with me?" "No, my child," Isioma whispered, pulling her close. "Don't think about it anymore." But she knew the truth. The wound in her daughter's heart would not heal so easily. The slap, the accusation, the shame, it had dimmed the child's innocence. Onyedika sat on the wooden chair in the corner of the room, staring at the floor. The weight of the previous night, the muddy cloth, the buried money, the tears, pressed on him heavily. But even with all the evidence in front of him, something still held him back. Fear of confronting his stepmother, fear of challenging tradition, fear of admitting he was wrong. "Isioma," he said finally, "let's not take this matter outside the house. It will disgrace us." She looked at him slowly. "Some truths?" she replied. "Need daylight." He had no answer to that. The women's union met only once a year, but when they did, the entire village felt it. The meeting was held in the large communal hall, a long mud brick building painted white, with benches arranged in rows and mats spread at the front for elders. Every woman in Umuoke attended. Every wife, every mother, every daughter. Even the stubborn ones who rarely left their homes showed up. This year's meeting was supposed to be about farm levies and the school building project, but rumors had already replaced the agenda. "Did you hear about the stolen money?" "They said the child took it." "No, I heard the mother buried it." "Ah." Who knows what is true anymore? By the time the meeting began, the hall buzzed with whispers like bees circling ripe fruit. Madame Ogoli arrived in grand style, wearing her brightest wrapper, her head tie standing tall like a kingdom tower. She walked slowly, savoring every pair of eyes that turned toward her. To her, this was a stage, and she intended to perform. She took a front row seat, straightened her back, and folded her hands dramatically over her chest. Anyone who glanced at her would think she carried the entire world's responsibility on her shoulders. Isioma entered quietly with Mama Ifeoma beside her. The two women walked with calm dignity, though everyone could see the tension tightening Isioma's jaw. Some women looked at her with pity, some with judgment, many with curiosity. When she sat down, her eyes accidentally met her husband's stepmother's across the room. The older woman smiled smugly. For the first time, Isioma realized this woman was not only wicked, she was proud of it. The meeting began with prayers, then announcements, then contributions. Everything went smoothly until the moment arrived. Mama Ugochi, the women's union leader, stood up. "If anyone has community matters to raise," she said, "this is the right time." Silence settled. Heads turned. Everyone knew something was coming. And then, slowly with practiced dramatics, Madame Ogoli stood up. "Women of Umuoke," she began, her voice loud, clear, and dripping with self-righteousness. "I have a matter that concerns every mother here." The hall leaned forward. "It is about morality," she continued, "about children who are not being trained well, about wives who are careless, about homes that are falling apart." Whispers rose immediately. "My son's house," she said, clutching her chest, "has been disgraced. Money was stolen from me. 5,000 naira, my hard-earned money, stolen by my granddaughter, a small girl." Gasps filled the room. "She took it," Ogoli continued, "because her mother is raising her to lie and to steal. If we don't talk about these things, How will our village change? The murmurs grew louder. Heads nodded. Eyes turned to Isioma. She sat stiffly, her fingers trembling, her breath trapped inside her chest. Mama Ifeoma, sitting beside her, placed a calm hand on her knee. Let her finish. The old woman whispered. Wickedness always makes itself loud before falling. Just as Madame Ogoli lifted her hand dramatically to continue, Mama Ifeoma rose slowly to her feet. Silence spread instantly. Respect followed her like a shadow. Ogoli, Mama Ifeoma said, calling her by name, something only the eldest were allowed to do. Before you go further, there is something the community needs to hear. Ogoli frowned. Mama, with due respect. No. The old woman cut in gently but firmly. Let truth speak today. The hall leaned forward. What truth? Ogoli snapped, suddenly uneasy. Mama Ifeoma tilted her head toward Isioma. Stand, she told her softly. With legs that threatened to buckle, Isioma rose and walked to the center of the hall. Every eye followed her. Mama Ifeoma stepped beside her. This woman, she announced, was accused of raising a thief. But before we accept this accusation, we must hear all sides. Ogoli began shaking her head violently. There is nothing to hear. I saw the money in my wrapper. It disappeared. Who else could... Enough. Mama Ifeoma's voice boomed, stopping everyone cold. You saw the money in your wrapper, true. But did you not also bury the same money behind their mango tree? The hall exploded in gasps. What? What madness are you saying? Ogoli stuttered. Mama Ifeoma turned to Isioma. Bring it out, she said. Isioma reached into her bag, slowly pulled out the cloth-wrapped money and held it up. The hall fell into dead silence. This, Mama Ifeoma said, was dug up from behind the mango tree. The exact place Ogoli was seen whispering over the ground at night. The women began murmuring. Some shook their heads in disbelief. Some looked at Ogoli with anger. Others stared at her as if seeing her true face for the first time. Ogoli's face flushed deep red. It's a lie, she screamed. All lies. This girl hates me. She is trying to disgrace me. But her voice trembled. Her hands shook. Her confidence vanished. And everyone saw it. The leader of the women's union lifted her hand. Quiet, she commanded. The hall fell still. She faced Ogoli. Is it true? Did you bury this money? Why would I do that? Ogoli stammered. Mama Ugochi nodded slowly. That's the question. Why would someone stage their own theft? Why would someone accuse an innocent child? Because she wanted the child and the mother thrown out, one woman muttered. Because she wanted to control her son's house, another said. Because she is wicked, a third concluded boldly. Ogoli's mouth opened and closed. Her voice was gone. Her strength collapsed under the weight of exposure. Mama Ugochi turned to Isioma. My daughter, she said gently, you have endured what no woman should endure. Speak. Tell us everything. And for the first time in months, Isioma spoke without fear. She told them about the insults, the rearranging of her home, the control, the whispers into her husband's ears, the harsh treatment of little Lota, the slap, the accusations, the midnight burial of the money. Her voice trembled, but she spoke until the entire hall was wrapped in absolute silence. When she finished, tears rolled down her cheeks, and something shifted in the hall. Women began rising one by one, some in anger, some in disbelief, many in solidarity. The union leader turned to Ogoli, her voice cold and final. You will leave. Ogoli blinked. What? You will pack your bags and leave the house you tried to destroy. Today. Immediately. The hall erupted in murmurs of agreement. You have broken trust, the leader continued. You framed a child. You brought unrest. You will not stay another night under that roof. Ogoli's knees buckled. She grabbed the nearest bench for support. This is shame, she cried. You people want to disgrace me. No, Mama Ugochi said calmly. You disgraced yourself. When Isioma returned home later that afternoon, she found Onyedika standing in the middle of the compound, looking smaller than she had ever seen him. He rushed toward her. Isioma, I'm sorry, he breathed. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. He saw the pain in her eyes, the exhaustion in her shoulders, the weariness in her soul. I failed you, he whispered. I failed our daughter. I let my mother turn me against my own family. Isioma looked at him slowly and said, We will heal, but it will take time. He nodded, tears filling his eyes. Behind them, Madame Ogoli dragged her box across the compound, muttering angrily under her breath as neighbors watched without pity. For once, she seemed small, diminished, exposed. As she reached the gate, Mama Ifeoma stood there waiting. The old woman didn't shout. She didn't scold. She simply said, Next time you plan evil, remember today. Ogoli lowered her head and walked out of the compound and out of their lives, without looking back. In the days that followed, the house felt lighter. Isioma cleaned room after room, sweeping out not only dust, but also the bitterness that had lingered for weeks. She washed sheets, rearranged chairs, cooked meals with renewed warmth. Lota began smiling again. She ran outside, played with friends, laughed loudly, and slept peacefully. Every evening, Onyedika sat beside his wife and daughter, holding them as though afraid to ever lose them again. Their home, once broken, slowly knitted itself back together. Peace returned, not suddenly, but gently, like a dove landing on a branch after a long storm. And the village carried a new wisdom. When a wicked visitor refuses to leave, truth must chase them out.